Chapter 3 Thursday, 10th of July. From the Thirst Garden Center website. Beat the heat and find relief with a delicious range of mouth-watering smoothies in our cafe. Our current fave is raspberry and mint. Yellow, said Liz, for what must have been the third or fourth time. According to Jack, said Thelma, also for the third or fourth time. A vertical yellow line, going from top to bottom, right in the middle of the wall. Liz frowned, shaking her head. Just doesn't make any sense. Her perplexed gaze roamed abstractly round the Thirst Garden Center cafe as if seeking to draw reassurance from the summer normality. The patio doors were flung wide to the morning sunshine, but most people had chosen to sit inside, out of the direct glare and intense heat. The place was bright with the pastel colors of summer t-shirts, yellow, lavender, pink, echoed by the displays in the Edinburgh Woolen Mill. Sun hats were on tables or poking out of handbags like large floppy flowers, and many a reddened upper arm was in evidence. Better get used to it, the Look North weatherman had said only that morning. This is our new normal, folks. Just because it doesn't make any sense to us doesn't mean there isn't a reason behind it, said Thelma calmly. It's probably nothing, said Pat, aiming her coral pink handbag fan directly at her cleavage. Just Madame Jack's getting her knickers in a knot as per. There's got to be some perfectly logical reason behind it. Such as, said Liz, still frowning worriedly. She could sense a sneeze brewing. This morning her head felt especially muzzy and bunged up. He could have been redecorating. Pat's tone was impatient, dismissive, as if men were found dead in front of painted walls every day of the week. On a Friday night, said Thelma mildly. He must have been trying out colors, said Pat airily, waving the fan. That's what we do. We get those teeny little pots of paint just to see what they look like. Jax didn't mention pots of paint or anything like that, said Thelma, stirring her coffee. Or that Nev had been wearing painting things. Anyway, said Liz, surely the way you use those sample pots and patches. Not great big lines. Who knows what went on in Neville Hilton's head, said Pat dismissively, shutting off the fan and returning it to her bag. Here's a thought. Maybe he'd done that one line, and the thought of all the upheaval involved caused him to, you know. She made a discreet but unmistakable gesture with her pastry fork. Of course, we don't know how ill Nev actually was, said Thelma. Derek said he seemed fine at Rotary, said Liz, but that's Rotary. There was an unspoken pause as all three reflected on their experiences of all-male gatherings where it was perfectly possible for someone to be at death's door without exiting for any particular attention. Thelma looked at Liz. What time did Derek say Nev left at the Rotary meeting? She asked. About 6:30, said Liz, and it'd have taken him about 20 minutes or so to drive back to Hollandby. 6:30? Thelma frowned. Isn't that a bit early to leave a Rotary meeting? The meeting hadn't actually got started, said Liz. According to Derek, they were all gathering in the wheat sheaf, and Nev got a phone call, said he had to leave, and headed off. What bothers me, interjected Pat, is why Jax Hilton Shelley wants to see us again, after strong-arming us into all going to the funeral. The three friends exchanged eloquent glances that said all there was to say about their ex-colleague. Back in the day, Pat had nicknamed her Shally, short for, Shall I leave with it, you? During the times they'd all worked together at St. Barnabas Primary School, that had been Jax's special skill, getting others to sort out any problems that should come her way. Jammed photocopiers, unmanned playgrounds, miscreant children, especially the latter, all would be brought to staff by Jax, accompanied by a bright, conclusive, Shall I leave it with you? And now all three had a nasty feeling that the former Miss Hilton viewed the death of her ex-husband in the same way, a problem that needed sorting. sorting by someone other than herself. "And we have liftoff," said Pat in an undertone as the blonde ponytail appeared at the entrance to the coffee shop. "Get ready to stand firm, ladies." "I've not heard anything more from the police." Jax had been sitting with them some 1.5 minutes and had not even touched her coffee. Another of Jax's traits was her ability to cut to the chase. "You were expecting to?" said Pat. Jax fixed her with a look of offended widowhood. "We were married," she said, in gently accusing tones, which successfully glossed over the whole issue of her defection. "Of course, I want to know what happened." "Do the police think that there was maybe something untoward about Nev's death then?" asked Liz. Jax nodded vigorously, ponytail bobbing on the top of a tight-fitting ensemble of spearmint and pink. "The police don't, but I do. 150% I do." "Why?" asked Thelma, ignoring the dramatic but inaccurate maths. "I saw him," said Jax, "just the week before he died, and he were fine. More than fine." "Heart attacks often come out of the blue," said Pat. "I want to know," said Jax, "is what brought it on in the first place." Her tone was dark despite the warmth of the day. There was a chilly pause, broken only by an explosive sneeze from Liz. "You think there was more to it?" probed Thelma. "All I'm saying is, according to Chelsea, the look on his face was terrible. Jax says to me, Jax, I can't get it out of my mind, that look." She took a conclusive sip of her coffee. "Not only that, there was something else that was odd." "You mean apart from that yellow line on the wall?" asked Pat. Jax nodded. "Apart from that, why was Nev there?" "Because it's his property," said Pat mildly. "But why go in there at all?" said Jax. "It's a holiday let, not his home." "Maybe whoever was staying in the outhouse had a problem with something," said Liz reasonably. The ponytail swept dismissively from side to side. "There was no one there," she said. "According to the woman across the road, the person staying had to leave early. Some crisis at home, so she'd gone that afternoon." "And you think that whatever happened was something to do with the yellow line on the wall?" ventured Thelma. Again, that firm nod. 1,000%. It's got to be. The way Nev was staring at it, Chelsea swears it wasn't like that the week before, so why had someone done it? "You spoken to Fionn?" asked Thelma. Maybe she can shed some light on it. Liz felt an embarrassed flush, remembering the tight, dark figure glaring at her as, sneezing madly, she maneuvered her car out of the way in a many-point turn. "Fionn?" Jack's eyes rolled expressively. "She's full on with her horses, that one. Not interested in the holiday let one iota. She left all that side of things to Nev. You could paint the whole flat sky blue and pink with yellow dots, and she wouldn't notice. She said it must have been done by Nev at some point, but Chelsea and I know that's not the case. Like I say, Chelsea swears it was the first time she's seen it, and you can hardly miss a thing like that." "Did Fionn have anything to say about Nev's heart problems?" asked Pat. Again, that dismissive flick of the head. "I asked her point blank, had he been ill, and she just shrugged. But unless Nev had suddenly grown a mane and 4 hooves, I don't reckon she would have noticed one way or another. And the thing is," there was something in Jack's tone that made Liz look up. Thelma stopped stirring and Pat paused. Melmerby sliced halfway to her lips. "There's something else." "What?" asked Liz anxiously. "Fionn told the police she was away in Carlisle on some horse do, but people are saying she wasn't." Jax looked squarely at her 3 ex-colleagues. "I know you probably think I'm being OTT, but he was my ex and I did care for him." Her voice was strong, almost defiant. Were those tears in her eyes? There was a pause. "So, what is it you want us to do?" said Thelma gently. ignoring Pat's stony expression. Jax looked at her once again on the brisk, efficient person who could work their way through a pile of laminating faster than anyone else in Key Stage 2. "I want to see if you can find out what happened," she said. "Ask around a bit. There's some festival in the village this weekend. I thought you could go along, talk to people." The reluctance on all three faces was plain to see as Jax continued speaking quickly. "Look, you're good at this stuff. Everyone says so. We all heard how you sorted out that business with them anonymous letters at St. Barney's and found out about what happened to poor Miss Joy." The three exchanged glances. The circumstances surrounding both those events had been complex and intensely personal to all three of them. In stark contrast, none of them had seen Nev Hilton for years. Thelma was opening her mouth to an attempt to put this as tactfully as she could when she saw Jax's eyes widen in recognition at a point somewhere over Pat's shoulder. "Chelsea," she said, "we're over here." Springing Chelsea on them unannounced was, they all later agreed, something of a master stroke of manipulation on Jax's part. Sitting there clutching a mango and peach smoothie, the girl looked painfully young and vulnerable. She reminded all three ex-teachers of a child starting in a new class, wide-eyed and unsure in a world suddenly unfamiliar and hazardous, and they all felt annoyed with Jax. They didn't diminish the sympathy they felt for the girl. They regarded her awkwardly, unsure what to say. Jax, however, had no such qualms. "Go on, Chelsea," she said firmly. "Tell them what you told me about finding Mr. Hilton." Chelsea nodded obediently and took a deep, shuddering breath. The hands clutching on the glass shook. "Sorry," she said brokenly. "Sorry." "You've got nothing to be sorry about," said Liz gently but firmly. "I can't imagine what a horrible experience it was. Anyone would be upset." Chelsea nodded. "I just keep seeing him there," she said, "on the sofa with that look on his face." "Chelsea, love," said Jax, "you need to get your head around it and move on. Now come on, these ladies haven't got all day." "I can't stop thinking about it," said Chelsea, her voice distressed. "Could I have done something? Stopped it from happening somehow?" "Chelsea," said Jax, with the air of zealous paramedic, "get a grip, love." Liz glared at their ex-colleague. "Anything can bring on a heart attack," she said to Chelsea, passing her a balsam tissue. "At any time. Really, there's nothing you could have done." "Liz is absolutely right," said Thelma in a tone she used so many times over the years with upset children. "The police said she'd been dead for hours." "The police?" Chelsea seized on the word. "They kept asking me the same questions over and over again, like they thought I knew something." "They have to do that," said Pat soothingly. "It's how these things work." She was feeling a complex mix of emotions. Annoyance with Jax, sympathy for Chelsea, plus a very strong urge to simply walk away and check out the sale in the Edinburgh Woolen Mill. Chelsea nodded and blew her nose. "Come on, Chels," urged Jax. "Tell them about finding Mr. Hilton." "Never mind that for now," interjected Thelma smoothly. "Tell us about when you arrived that morning, whether you noticed anything odd." Chelsea visibly relaxed and even looked a bit less stricken. "Not really," she said, "just that Miss Hilton's car wasn't there. But she often goes away on the weekend with her horses." "So you parked up," prompted Thelma. "That's right, I was in a hurry because with 4 places to do, you need to get a shift on. And oh," she stopped herself, frowning, "there was one thing." "Go on, lovey," encouraged Liz. "It sounds silly," she said apologetically, "but I had to move the wheelie bin." An investigating police officer could have well dismissed this event, but Pat, Liz, and Thelma were not investigating police officers, and all knew about the potential significance of wheelie bins, moved or unmoved. "You don't normally?" asked Pat, growing interested in spite of herself. Chelsea shook her head. "No, Mr. Hilton always puts it out on the street on a Friday night. He used to tell me all the time how he'd do it straight away every time he got back from his Friday night meeting. Made a big thing of it, he always did." There was a pause. All three women could well imagine Melville Hilton making a big thing of putting a wheelie bin out. "There's trade waste collection on a Saturday," said Jax authoritatively. "It's different from normal waste. A load of holiday colleges use it, but you have to remember to put your bin out where they can see it." "It hadn't been put out like normal. It had been left in the driveway, blocking the way to where I park," said Chelsea. "So you moved the wheelie bin and went inside," prompted Thelma. Chelsea nodded. "It were clean," she said. "Spotless. Everything washed up and put away. Nothing left out." Thelma frowned. "What?" said Pat. "Some of the messes I walk into," said Jax importantly. "Disgusting. Proper animals, some folks." Thelma ignored this. "Did you notice anything else?" she asked. "Just the body, sat there, eyes open." Chelsea's voice shook, and Liz covered her hand with her own. "I can't imagine how horrible that must have been," she said to her. "Forgive me for asking," said Thelma. "Did you happen to notice what Mr. Hilton was wearing?" Chelsea frowned. "Just normal clothes," she said. "Well, normal for him." "He wasn't," said Thelma, "wearing painting clothes?" "Oh no," Chelsea shook her head. "Nothing like that. Jacket and trousers, not a suit, and a checkered shirt and a tie." "Just the sort of thing he'd wear to Rotary," said Liz. "And this yellow line?" Thelma asked the question almost casually. "Oh yeah," Chelsea frowned, eyes once more fearful. "That, I have no idea what that we're doing there." "What was it like?" asked Liz. Chelsea frowned. "Well, it were yellow," she said, "and it were a line, and I don't know what else I can say, really." "What shade of yellow was it?" asked Pat, by now thoroughly engrossed. "Pale," said Chelsea. She looked around and nodded to a woman in a primrose yellow top, sitting at a table across the cafe. "About the same shade as that lady's t-shirt, maybe a bit paler." "And thick?" said Thelma, "or thin?" "I don't know, really." Chelsea looks confused. "I mean, not thin, but not thick either." She shivered, eyes widening. "It was weird," she said. "I didn't like it." She half closed her eyes. "I've been dreaming about it," she said, "like I'm somewhere normal, and suddenly there it is on the wall, a pale yellow line." The trio watched the two figures retreating across the rapidly filling cafe, Jax with a proprietorial hand between Chelsea's shoulder blades. Thelma looked grave. "In cases like this," she said, "it's always the innocent who suffer. Finding Melville like that is something that'll always stay with her." "Poor lass," said Liz. Poor lass." "Never mind, poor lass," said Pat. "Madam Jax Shelley just wants to have her cleaner back up and running." She looked grimly at her friends. The phrase, "thundering cheek," comes to mind. "What was she playing at?" said Liz, blowing her nose in exasperation. "Bringing the poor lass here like that, and making her go through it all over again." "And then expecting us to go and investigate what happened," said Pat. "Who does Miss Shelley think we are? A Miss Marple tribute band?" "It's that last that bothers me," said Liz. "She's never going to get over it, thinking she's responsible in some way." "Well, if you want to go trawling around Hollenby Quernhow Village Festival this weekend, fill your boots," said Pat. Finishing her Melmerby slice, "I have other plans." Her words were firm, her mind filled with the glorious prospect of a weekend with her and Rod in the house, padding round in her favorite faded sundress, reading in the garden, maybe binge-watching that new season of Real Housewives of Tampa Bay. "I'm not saying we should get involved," said Liz hastily. Her weekend was also full. Her grandson Jacob was staying over, and Liz had a nasty idea. He planned to go through her food cupboard and weed out what he termed unsuitable food. Forestalling and ensuring there was at least some food left would take both time and patience. All at once they both became aware that Thelma was saying nothing, saying nothing but stirring her coffee in that very familiar way. "What?" said Pat with a long-suffering sigh. "I'm so sorry," said Thelma. "I was just wondering." "Wondering what?" said Liz. Thelma looked at them. "A couple of things, really," she said. "According to Chelsea, the flat was left spotless, but then Jack said the person staying there had to leave in a hurry. Surely, if you were called away by some crisis, you wouldn't stop first and clean somewhere that would be cleaned anyway." Pat shrugged. "Some people are like that," she said. "It's a point of honor to leave places cleaner than when they found them." "What was the other thing?" said Liz. "It was something Jack said. Why did Neville go into the Holiday flat?" "There could be any number of reasons," Pat said dismissively. "But why didn't he put the wheelie bin out first?" Thelma's words seemed to cast a chill across the warm room. They all instinctively felt there was something odd about that misplaced wheelie bin. "Chelsea said he always puts the bins out when he got back from Rotary," said Liz slowly. "But he didn't." "So what stopped him?" asked Thelma. "A heart attack?" said Pat pointedly. "No," said Liz. "If you're feeling ill, you'd go to your own house, not a holiday let." "Exactly," said Thelma. "So the chances are he was fine when he got back, and for whatever reason, he didn't put the wheelie bin out because of something that happened. And that's what made him go inside the holiday let. And now I think on it, there's a third thing." "What?" asked Pat uneasily. Thelma steepled her fingers in thought. "Derek said he left Rotary because he got a call. So, who was the call from? And why did it make him go back home, but not into his own home?"